Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. This is John from Flippin' Ain't Easy. And all I seem to do is make these last minute lives, and I apologize. Sometimes I just don't know how my day is going to go before I decide to do these things. And today was kind of hectic, but I thought, you know what? I'll still be able to squeeze in a live for about an hour, depending on your questions, of course. If you're watching this live, of course, in the comments, make sure you put your questions, answers that you might have to the questions, or if you just want to contribute to the conversation, then certainly please do. A lot of people watch. We have sometimes last time we had over 100 people watching, which was quite amazing. That was on Tuesday's live stream, and I'm hoping to hit that again. But if you're one of those people that are watching us live, you know what? It doesn't matter. Even if you have a question that you think maybe is a dumb question, there is no dumb question because you don't know the answer to it. This is part of learning, and someone here can help you with that. If not me, I'll try. But please post that in the comments down below. So if you're watching us after the fact, comment down below, ask your questions down below, answer someone's question down below. Certainly that does help the channel. Kind of a community type deal here where I don't know all the answers. You have others that are experts that are just sitting here watching that are willing to help you. And so do comment or ask your question in the live chat. No matter how you're watching this, do me one favor, just hit that like button. For every person that watches this video, if you just go in and gently massage that like button, it does help the channel. If you enjoy the channel, of course, subscribe and share it with your friends as well. So we have about 13 people in the house. Let's see who we have. We have Tommy Bernhard Podcast. Hey, thank you for showing up today and hanging out with us. We have Biscuit Butt. Hello, FAE fam. And we have Semperfi Up. So thank you for hanging out with us today. The question at hand is kind of based on my last video. And of course, if I have a chance, I'll try to post it somewhere in the video so you can click on it for later if you're watching this after the fact. But that video was pertaining to an article that was brought to my attention that CNN put out, CNN Business, regarding the major retailers, looking at the idea of doing no returns, meaning that if you had a problem with your item, they would just tell you, donate it, take it home, here's your refund, and have a nice day. And at least I do, a lot of us resellers rely on liquidation. And if there's a steep decrease in the amount of items that are offered for liquidation, then that is going to be a problem, not just for the folks who buy liquidation, but it's going to be a problem for you guys who source at yard sales, source at thrift stores. Wouldn't you love to show up at that yard sale thinking you're the first one there, and there's like five other people more than usual because they're there to get the same items you were there for now because they have no way to source. And wouldn't you just love to have double the people at your local thrift store looking for profitable items like you are, when before they were buying liquidation and now they're not? And don't say you're going to go to your bin store because those bin stores rely on liquidation. That's kind of what the video was about. And that's why the subject of this live stream, because I didn't really get a lot of answers to that question, even though I asked for the answers to the question, which was, if you were not able to source the way you currently do now, whether it's at a flea market, whether it's at yard sale, thrift store, liquidation, if you weren't able to do that anymore, what is your backup plan? Maybe you have a current supplier, right? What if they go belly up? What if they say, look, we're closing our doors tomorrow and we're not going to be in business, so have a nice day? Who are you going to go to then? So that's the question that I have for you guys. And that's the subject of this live stream to get the conversation started. And of course, if you have any other eBay or reselling questions, please post that in your comments down below. Now, I'll start off with my answer. My answer is um, I've already seen liquidation cut in half already. Back in 2019, early 2020, right before the pandemic, and really the first month or two of the pandemic, liquidation was abundant. I can grab it all day long. I have 2 or 3 or 4 lots to choose from. I would be turning down some lots that right now, if I had a chance to grab, I would jump on it in a heartbeat. Okay. And whether it's my local liquidation or having this stuff shipped in by freight, it was great. It was really great. I think 2019 was my best year because of the abundance of the type of liquidation. I wasn't even settling for just whatever. I was actually niching down. I guess I'm saying it wrong anyway. But I was in electronics. That's where I wanted to be. I could get it all day long. Now I get whatever they have, and I'm happy to get it. Right. Picking up another lot on Tuesday with Biscuit Butt. We're going in halves on a 16 box lot. These are lots I wouldn't even have looked at back in 2019. And so for me, it's changing. Now, if that all goes away, then of course, you're going to see me at 5 a.m. at your yard sale waiting for them to open up, or maybe at your thrift store. I'm going to learn. I'm going to adapt. But see, not everyone's going to be able to do that. And where's all the product going to come from if we're all fighting for the same stuff to resell? So that's kind of why I posed the question. Tommy Bernard podcast says, if I lost my source, I'd go back to local auction houses and be an everything seller until I found another niche source. And I'm going to like I mentioned, I'm going to ASD. If you're in Vegas from the 21st of August on to like the 25th, I had a flyer here, and I'm getting access. I don't know how much they normally would charge for access to ASD, maybe like $10 a day. But going to ASD, and there's just 2 convention halls just full of not resellers, but wholesalers, I guess you'd say, who are there to sign you up to sell their goods. And, they tell you how much per unit, that type of thing. They have all their wares on display. And the first time I went there last year, went with Biscuit Butt. We kind of just walked around. We weren't really in any kind of mode to do any deals with anyone. But I think it's kind of time for me to really try to focus on a 1 or 2, maybe 3 different possible business relationships where I can just get consistent goods in. And that's going to take a lot of research. May mean I have to go back a second or third day. But the first day, go gather information, bring it back, do my research to see how profitable some of these suppliers are, and then come back and see if I can work something out. That's kind of my plan, because once this liquidation, if it dries up, I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying what CNN reports is going to happen, because we all know that CNN and other media outlets have been wrong. But it's for them to go out and put that out there. It tells me that there is some relevance to it, and I'm going to at least keep my eyes open. And if word comes out, and I'm sure they said something about this happening this year, if they stop taking returns at some of these major retailers, then I want to be prepared. And that's why I kind of wanted to pose this question, so that you guys can really think about it on an individual level. Some of you will just quit. I know that right now I can already see the comments that, if this happens, if I can't source here, or if I have, extra 10 to 20 people to contend with at the yard sale, I'm just going to quit. And, it's sad that that's the reality, but, for some, it's just too much. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation. We have Biscuit Butt says, hello, Tommy Bernard. Ed, the Reselling Writer. Hey, John, good to see you. Thanks for hanging with us today. Simplify 1918 says, finally sales are moving, but still slow. Just sold an item today and not sure where I picked it up, but with offers, always ask for a few dollars more when they send it to you. Yeah, a lot of times they will lowball you. My favorite line, if like for instance, I had one today where I think the item was like $23 plus the cost of shipping. They offered me 18. I'm only into it for like $5. So I said, yeah. I didn't even negotiate. I just said yes. Maybe a couple years ago, I would have basically come back. But if that same person would have said, look, $10 and I'm at 24, I would have said something like, you know what, how about let's meet halfway? And you add that in your comments. Of course, you come back with like whatever halfway is as your counter offer, and just come back and say, how about we meet halfway? Most reasonable people are going to take that and say, you know what, that's a good offer, and they'll take it. Someone that's trying to constantly lowball you, they'll come back at $11, and you're like, no, I mean, I did the math. Halfway is as good as I can go. Let me know, kind of thing. And sometimes they'll still come back at you for $11, or maybe they'll up their amount by $1. So, it's just the game that people play. You got to be willing to play it. Can't get mad when they're playing it. And in fact, I understand you're trying to get a good deal. I don't blame you, but this is the best I can do. And I think I did that last week, and they came around to my dollar amount. So I think years past, my only goal with best offer was to make the lowest possible offer I could make to get my item a boost in search. I didn't care if I really didn't want to sell my item lower than that. Didn't want to make a deal because I'm waiting for that unicorn buyer, that we all wait for sometimes. And I learned that, right now it's a mistake. When the economy is better, it's okay to wait for your price, depending on the market and all that. But when the economy's not, like I took an offer today, I'm pretty much going to make a couple bucks on it, but the item's been sitting around. So just move it, right? Get that money back that I invested in that item, and put it into the next lot of goods that I buy. So just depends on your particular situation. If you're killing it in sales, it doesn't make any sense to just kind of cave into what you get for offers. If you're struggling, then I think when you accept these offers, I do think it gives you a very small boost where you're dealing with sell-through rate. When you improve your sell-through rate, eBay looks at that as a positive thing. Biscuit Butt says there might be an opportunity to snatch up inventory from resellers that decide to give up, right? I'll give you a perfect example. If you've watched Daily Refinement's videos, his channels, it comes up on my feed. So every once in a while I'll watch it. And he's been buying lots of clothing from people. And, he has a way to move it, but he's just not pulling that merchandise out of thin air. There's a lot of people who are just saying, you know what, I'm done. I can't do it. I don't have the patience or the, I don't want to wait on eBay to, generate sales. I don't have the time to put into it. So therefore I'm just going to give up. And, he's making that part of it work. So there's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of opportunities right now for you to go on to OfferUp. Find people who are selling collections of stuff they would never have considered giving up, but they need the money. They're out of work, whatever it is, and you could take advantage of that situation. I mean, it sucks. It kind of sucks to say that you're taking advantage of someone's bad situation, but that's just life. That's the way the world is. You're doing them a favor by buying that whatever item from them, and of course, as a reseller, you can benefit from those type of situations. So just a tip, be on the lookout for stuff because there's always items out there. Sue and Rusty Shop and Play, use business license and wholesalers. So I do have a reseller's license for the state of Nevada. It's like $15. It gives you a tax exemption. So when you're buying goods within the state of Nevada for resale, you're not getting taxed because you're not the end user. Basically, the end user is the person or people who buy that from you off of eBay, or if you're selling it at like locally, then you're supposed to charge tax on top of that. Biscuit Butt says, I saw a post on Facebook that the seller raised their prices 25% and put a 10% promoted listing in the cha-chings were nonstop. And you're probably right, because if somebody is at that high of a promoted listing rate, they're probably on page one. And if you're on page one and you're near the top, people don't have time. Well, some people do, but a lot of people just look, here's the item I'm searching for. And it comes up in best match search. They're not even trying to use the filters, right? They just want the item they're looking for. Maybe they don't even have a lot of experience with eBay to even know or care about the filters on the left. And they pull up the item they're looking for in search. And yeah, your item might be priced a little bit higher than a lot of people who are on page 2 and 3, but some buyers are never going to see that or notice that. They're just going to see your item at the top. They're going to consider, is this worth it to me? Yeah, it seems about right. I saw it at the store for a little bit more, so I'm going to buy this item. And now you might have a higher cancellation rate once they go to pay for it when eBay shows them the competition, the same item at 25% less. But for those who don't care, you're going to, because your item's exposed to more eyes and more people, and the people who aren't, as what we used to call, at least in the sales industry, they're customers that are price sensitive, and you can tell, by the way you talk to them, if they're, looking for the best deal, that type of thing. But there's people out there who don't care, and they'll be willing to pay that amount because it's just easy. I'll click on it and just be done with it. Biff Boffo, I guess the workaround is to buy your reselling items retail, requesting a return from Walmart so your cost of goods becomes free. But I know that this is something that's been into effect for quite a while, for many years, is you go return something right now of any kind of value. I don't know the exact dollar value, but what'll happen is they'll ask for your ID. And the reason why they ask for your ID is you are in a return system that the retailers share amongst themselves. And if you are flagged for returning too many items, then they'll tell you, sorry, sir, we can't take this back from you. You've returned too many items and you're just stuck with it. So they already have those systems in place. So you may get away with it one time, maybe two times at a particular retailer, but after a while, it will certainly catch up to you. And like Amazon, if you do it at Amazon, do enough returns at Amazon, you'll basically be told, we don't want your business anymore. And that's also a thing. But I think it's really based on a certain ratio and dollar amount from what you purchase over a certain period of time to what you return, that ratio as far as dollar amount. So you buy like a lot of $5-10 items and return that $200 item, it might cause somebody to look at your account. Jennifer V, this will also increase the scammers on eBay. They will also expect to be told to keep it and have those high expectations that they can get away with on our platform. They already do. I mean, not to that extent, but you have a lot of Amazon customers who come over to eBay. They expect you to accept any item coming back, like on a return, and they'll just throw it in a box. They won't even take the time to pad it up, bubble wrap it or whatever, provide protection so it doesn't get all thrashed during shipping. And then they wonder, well, why am I not getting a full refund? So they already have that mentality, and some of them even already do. I have somebody who bought an item from me, and I shipped it on time. The next day, they said they sent me a return request stating that they wanted to cancel in their little remarks, and they also said, please stop the delivery if you can. Well, I'm not going to go through all that. I didn't order it. This person did. It's slated to get there on Monday, and they sent me a message like in the middle of the night last night saying, I want a refund. And I replied, well, you can't have a refund until you return it back. And then this morning, I get a message saying, never mind, I'm going to keep it. So I can only imagine it's someone that had ordered something, like the daughter ordered something because it's like a little baby doll or whatever it was. And they kind of had a dispute. They said, well, you shouldn't have ordered it without telling me, kind of thing. And then they finally decided, well, we'll just go ahead and keep it. I mean, I'm just guessing, but the expectation for someone to say, look, give me my money back, even in a different type of scenario, it kind of tells me that they've been able to get away with it already. You have a lot of timid sellers out there. If you read the bulletin boards, like on Facebook or other forums, you'll see a lot of people who just don't know. They're very afraid when they deal with a buyer who contacts them demanding a refund when they receive that item. And some of them, before they even get to the bulletin board to post what their problem is, has already refunded their money and asking them, what should I do, when it's already too late. We as sellers need to do better in conditioning these buyers that they have to abide by the eBay return system. Now, look, I'm not against partial refunds. If a buyer sends you a message showing you photos and you can confirm it's the item you sent, but it's all busted up, or maybe there's something that you overlooked and didn't include in your listing and it's your fault, I'm not against the idea of partial refunds. Like I think one time I had a guy who bought one of those really fancy not napkin, but tissue box, right? And it looked like a stack of books. And it was pretty cool. And I checked it out. It looked brand new. But when they got it, took a photo and showed that the hinge didn't have the pin in there. Now it's still closed and functioned. And he didn't open a return request, but he sent me saying, hey, blah, blah, blah. And I offered him like half his money back because I knew it was going to cost me for a return label. And I didn't disclose that there was a problem with this particular item, and chances are it was a pretty hard to find type item. Chances are he didn't have one just like it and said, hey, let's swap it out, that type of thing. So I was okay with that. And you know what? He didn't come at me saying, hey, what do you want to do about this, or demanding money. I had made the offer to the buyer. And, when you're making an offer to a buyer, you always want to give them multiple options. So I gave him the option of, I'll give you like $8 back if you want to go ahead and just keep it if it still works for you, or please open a return on eBay. And I think when you do that, instead of just giving them one option, it makes them feel like they have some control over the outcome. And a lot of times, I'm talking if you're dealing with a reasonable person, and a lot of times they'll just take the partial refund if they can still use it, and that type of thing. Ed, the reselling writer, my backup is unfortunately to get a second part-time or the extreme, have 2 full-time jobs to survive for my family. Yeah. And, like I told you guys on a live stream a while back, I have begun, like over the last month, messing with this whole Uber corner shop thing where you go grocery shopping for people. And I did it to get my foot in the door because I don't know where we're going to be going as reselling, resellers. I don't know what's going to happen with this economy. And if I do everything I can, let's say I list 20, 30 items in a day, and then I'm sitting here twiddling my thumbs, maybe shipping one here, one there, I at least have something to do for a few hours a day above and beyond what I'm already doing. I guess you could say I can list 50 items, but I think at some point, and I'm not there even close to the yet because I'm making sales, but at some point, if the sales get so bad where you can list all you want and you're just not getting sales, and I don't think that's where we're at right now at all. But if it ever came to that point, I want to at least have something that I can kind of fall back on and at least spend my time trying to make some money. So I hear what you're saying. Biscuit Butt, the procrastinator, Archie, says I should get a YouTube channel and complain about sourcing dried up and make money on YouTube. Well, you should have made a YouTube channel a long time ago. We've talked about this. The hardest thing that you can do on YouTube is to just get started. And once you get started, you're going to realize how bad your first few videos are. But it's like you either like it or hate it. Either you're going to quit right away or you're going to continue. And you'll know at that point if it's something you want to pursue. Because it's one thing to think, I could just do this YouTube and it's easy. But you can ask Ed, you can ask Tommy, and others who might be watching this, that to really succeed on YouTube takes consistency. And there's sometimes you just you don't feel like making that video, right? But you know what YouTube is expecting, just like what eBay is expecting when you need to list and you just don't feel like it. And it works the same way. It's kind of the same search engine or the same algorithm as far as I'm concerned. Not quite the same, but it's the same concept. Biff Boffo, it's a story that attracts attention and viewers because people love the idea of getting up to keep a return. I think it's a bogus story. it's a bogus story until places allow it to happen. So, on that $5 to $10 item, someone buys it from you and you didn't make a whole lot. They complain, they want to open a return. It's very tempting just to say, look, here, take this $10 back. And it's happening. It's been happening. And that conditions buyers. So when Walmart does it, when Target does it, and we're talking 30, 40, $50 items, the buyers are going to expect it. So that's, let's hope it never comes down to that. But of course, if it's being reported on the news, I'm going to at least start taking it seriously. Let's see. Christina says, happy Friday to everyone. John, I really love the beach towel I won during the time when you hit the 10,000 subscriber. I use it a lot since I live in California. Awesome. That's that blue eBay beach towel. That's really, really cool. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of beaches out here in Vegas. I guess if you wanted to go to like the resort pools and that kind of thing, but I'm certainly glad that you're putting it to use. That's awesome. Tommy Bernard says, I know a few people who have done ASD. Problem is the vendors are public, so anyone can Google and contact, so be careful. Yeah, I am. And there's just so many. It's a sea of them. I may even do a video when I go. I kind of did one, but it was more focused on just the craziness that Archie and I, we were there and we were like in the sea of madness looking through these liquidation pallets that they had. And I thought that was kind of a fun video, but I really didn't take the networking side and meeting up with vendors all that seriously, to be honest with you. Let's see. Art Betzold says, I enjoy the haggle on best offers. Well, here's the thing. It's an opportunity. Some people hate it. Some people look. I don't even want to talk to these people. I just want to send an offer. If they come back with a low ball, I'm just going to decline. And I think that's a huge mistake because, imagine if you're a used car salesman or just a car salesman. If someone came onto your lot and you didn't really pursue them to see how interested they were. Maybe they weren't really interested, but if you didn't do your job and use your sales techniques, you probably wouldn't do so well selling cars. You might sell a few here and there, but there's probably going to be a few better salesmen or saleswomen in that workforce that's making more money than you. And I look at it as an opportunity. Someone has expressed interest in your item, even if it's for $1. A $20 item they want to give you $1 for. They're interested in it. Now, it depends on what the level of interest is. Maybe they're just kicking the tires. Maybe they're just looking for a deal. And if they can't get it, they don't want it. But it's more than you had before. And you got to try to take advantage of every opportunity to engage these buyers. Just send them a 2-line message if you have to. Maybe give them the benefits. I'll get it out to you first thing in the morning in the mail, that kind of thing. It's your opportunity to try to secure a sale. Think about it. People look at your listings. You don't have any opportunity to communicate and to really sell up that item until they reach out to you with any offer. And you need to take advantage of those moments when they do. Biscuit Butt says, you and I are BFFs and I still haven't tried the listing tool you promote, but hearing you're selling stale inventory from eBay, I might have to drink the Kool-Aid. So what Archie's talking about is Prime Lister. And, I think we talked about the price. I think it's like $39.99 a month for the one with all the bells and the whistles. And as I mentioned to you guys, I wouldn't have even taken that sponsorship had I not tried it out myself. I can tell you, and I guess I'll make a video at some point. Over the last week, I've sold 10 items on Mercari. It's 10 items that I wouldn't have sold on eBay, and I'll tell you why. All 10 of these items are dog items that were sitting in my store for at least 2 months, and I'm just listing like 5 to 10 a day over to Mercari, and I'm getting sales. And what's weird is my view counts are very high on Mercari as it compares to eBay on those same items. Now eBay's reset their views to the last rolling count, like 30 days. I'm comparing the last 30 days on eBay. I've listed these items maybe 2 weeks ago on Mercari, and I'm getting more views. And my thought process is this: you got a saturated market of sellers on eBay, a lot more sellers than on Mercari, and I have fewer buyers on Mercari, but I have fewer competition on Mercari. So I'm able to get more views on my items, some of these items that I probably would still have sitting back behind me had I not had a cross lister. I think I'm at about $190 on those 10 items. So as you can see, I'm not making a whole lot of money. A lot of these items on Mercari, I've noticed you're going to sell a lot more, let's say under $20, $25 items on Mercari than you will bigger ticket items. But it's not a whole lot of effort with this tool that I use on Prime Lister. And of course, you can check it out, 14 days free, 30% off your first month. If you extend it beyond that 14 days, they don't ask for a credit card, but use my referral link down below and give it a shot. It's about getting your items in front of more eyes. And I think I'm doing just that. And there's just a different kind of buyer on Mercari. So thanks, Archie, for bringing that up. Certainly wanted to share that with you, but I was really planning on making a separate video because I could sit up here all day and say how great Prime Lister is. But for some, they need to see it. It's like, well, this guy's just trying to sell me something. Really, I'm not. I mean, I am, but I'm not, if I'm being honest with you. I want you guys to give it a try. And I want you guys to try it for 14 days. And I want you to absolutely 100% cancel if it's not going to work for you. But that, if you don't give it a try, you're never going to see if it's going to work for you. Tommy says, someone told me that Daily Confinement is selling our slots, his whatnot for $250 an hour. You can never just do things without trying to scam the system somehow. So how do you, okay, so you're going to have to explain that to me. I am approved for, gone through the whole, I guess the initiation process or whatever they call it for whatnot to be a seller. They keep sending me messages, when are you going to do your first whatnot? But I've never seen anyone that does that. So if you can explain what that is in more detail, I certainly would appreciate it. Now on the whatnot front, I am, I've been talking to Archie, looking at doing some whatnots here. I mean, how many of you guys that are watching right now would tune into a whatnot to buy some of this stuff that we have for sale? For me, it's a lot of these military patches and pins and things like that. Is that even interesting to you? And I think a lot of times they want to get people with a social media following to do whatnot because they think they can get their people watching to tune in to buy their items. But how many of you guys would even be interested in that? I mean, there's so many different kind of sellers out there who, sell different things. Might not even be interesting to you. So comment down below or in the chat. Let me know what your thoughts is on tuning into one of our whatnot sessions. Collecting chaos. Item specifics are killing me. I spend more time going back over the item specifics and checking the don't tell me box than I do actually listing. You want to consider that there's a percentage of buyers who are actually going to use that filter down the left side. And if you're not taking the time to make sure that the correct values are entered in, you are going to be excluded from their search results if they use that filter option. So it's a pain. It's a pain, but it's just part of the process. I think it slowed the process down tremendously when they forced that down our throat. That's for sure. Tommy says, Biscuit Butt promoted is well worth it if you have great picks and high promotion. Sales will roll. And it's something that I'm not going to really, I think I touched on it on a previous live stream. I'm going to be working on some videos to test that theory, but we'll talk about it later. I do believe what you're saying. I do think that there is something to having a higher promoted and getting yourself exposed. Yeah, you're paying more to eBay, but either you're waiting for the unicorn buyer or you want to sell it. Let's see. GT says, hey guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Judy D is in the house. Hey John, how are you doing today? about 15 minutes behind on the comments, so please be patient with me here. The Tommy Bernard podcast is trending plus 3.5 is a sweet spot. So, now everyone watching is going to be trending plus 3.5. So maybe you didn't want me to show that comment. Collecting chaos. Item return quantity isn't what Walmart looks at. They look at the number of times returned. If you return 18 times on one receipt, it is still only considered one return. But at some point, I mean, you're not going to be able to utilize the return system that they're talking about to source your items for free. At some point, you're going to get cut off. Let's see. Wanda Greer says, may this is part of lower sales, but I put a note in my ads that if an item's being returned not properly packaged, there will be a deduction. I hide nothing from buyers. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, maybe I'm waiting too long. I don't have it in my template when I list on eBay, but when someone opens a return, I say, I'll send them a message and I'll say, I've noticed you opened a return on this item. Please be sure to package it at least in the same fashion that we packaged it. Please include all accessories, all internal packaging, and the original box that it came in. Otherwise, it will have an impact on your refund. And a lot of times that people comply and do what they're supposed to do, and there's other times where people just think you're Amazon, and guess what? I'm not giving them a full refund, especially if it comes back damaged or something like that. Christina says, if I lost my source, I would go with Macy's liquidation. So how do you like that? I think I may have sent you the link to that. You have to sign up through macy'sliquidation.com. They have a lot of definitely their clothing, sometimes furniture that they put out in spreadsheets, and it's not really an auction form. You just go on and say, okay, I want this lot, I want that lot, and you just wire the money. And I think they have different facilities. I think they have one out in the LA area, and you can have it shipped, or you can provide your own shipping. So I've definitely dealt with them before, and it is definitely a good way to go about it. Let's see. Corey Cloud says, soaking up this knowledge like a sponge. Yeah, that's what's great about these YouTube videos. You can get a lot of good information, and I definitely learned a lot. My full 3 years now of being a full-time reseller. It's one thing when you're doing this part-time because you're so focused on what you do full-time that you don't spend a lot of time soaking up the knowledge as you do when you become full-time. So definitely I know a lot more now in the last 3 years as a reseller full-time than I have since being a part-time reseller since 2002. Let's see. Seuss Mimis, am I going to get paid when the buyer confirms that he got the item on the first sale? With managed payments, if you're a new seller, they'll hold that money, and they want to see that the tracking shows a delivery scan, and the money is supposed to be released to your available funds, and then it takes a day or two for that money to be sent, processed to your bank at a 1 to 3 days on top of that for processing time, which is normal whenever you get a payment. A lot of the good banks take 1 day. I have Chase as I take that back. I had Chase. Chase is my personal account, but I have a secondary checking where I now have all my business stuff going to, because I didn't want it all intermingled. And that's through Capital One. And it's like 1 or 2 days max. And if you have a podunk bank, it may take a little bit longer to see that money. Simplify says, for sourcing, I was told don't have all your eggs in one basket. I haven't sourced lately due to plenty of inventory and not much in sales. So once that goes, you bet I'll be getting more. So yeah, you don't want to have all your eggs in one basket, which is why, we were talking about the whole cross-listing thing. But it's also about having more eyes on your inventory, because slow sales means that you're probably not getting your items out. I need to do better. I can use that cross-listing tool to get a lot of the clothing items. I think I have maybe about 50 to 100 items in my store that are clothing, and I just haven't branched over to the Poshmark side of things. Doesn't mean that I won't. What I like about it is, and I was talking to Archie about this the other day, Poshmark is more of they want you to be active, sharing this, sharing that, right? And it's a pain. That's kind of why we stopped selling on Poshmark. We were ambassadors on Poshmark, and to go through all that trouble. I mean, I remember when we first started Poshmark, I was on my phone at night, nothing else to do, and I'm just sitting there adding people, like it was a game on my phone. And it got old very quickly to the point where we got an app. It was like $10 a month, and you just like once a day click a button and it goes and shares your listings with everyone. But that costs like $10 a month. What I like about the Prime Lister tool, once you get your items set up on Poshmark, you can go in and there's like an automated assistant that does that for you, and it's all included in the price of the tool. So once I get, all my items that I want listed over to Mercari, I'm going to then start getting my clothing moved over to Poshmark, that kind of thing. I mean, you can do it all at once if you want to, but I just want to do it in batches. Get established on Mercari and then get over to Posh, that kind of thing. Let's see. Ed says, yes, for Mercari, my lower dollar items do well. Items that didn't sell on Whatnot, I was going to donate, but instead listed them on Mercari. 5 of the 20 shirts I sold in less than a week. Yeah. And it's a different site. It's a different platform. You have your app. Hopefully you have the Mercari app. When you get a sale, they'll send you a text. The last thing you want to do is have sales and you just don't look at Mercari and, they expire and it hurts your metrics. It's one more thing that you have to look at. I get it. And you have to come up with a system so that you're not double selling. And I have a system in place. Maybe I'll come up with a video on that. But it works. I've made it work, and that's part of it. You just got to adapt and make things work. Stefan Zwarz, hopefully I didn't mess up your name. I apologize. Hello, John. Cross-posting is the way to go if you can't be stuck in the rut of selling only on eBay. Cross-posting and shipping on Facebook. I've already sold several items. And for me, 10 items I sold in the last week. In my opinion, probably at least eight of those are items I wouldn't have sold before. And so therefore it's worth it. And I spend literally, my process is, again, I'll go through the items that are about to recycle on the fixed price listings. After 30 days, it recycles into a new 30-day period. Well, before that even happens, I'll go in, I'll see what's wrong with the listing, tweak it, tweak the price, tweak the photos, change the order of the photos, maybe tweak the title, and then I launch it. And then I go into the ones I just launched after I do all of them, and then I'll go in and cross-list those over to Mercari, and I'll set in my SKU not only the location where that item is, but I'll also put the word Mercari next to it so that if I sell that item on eBay, I know to go and remove it from Mercari. Ed says, I stopped selling on Whatnot when they got rid of the $1 shipping after your first order. My viewership and sales drastically went down. I didn't know they removed that. I thought if they ordered more than one item, it's $1 shipping over and above what the initial charge was to get more sales. I might try it again soon, but if I don't see good results, since I won't be able to start $1 like I did before, would have to start at $15 or so. So who pays the difference on the shipping? Does the buyer pay it, or are you asked as a seller to pay that difference? When I went to their orientation a few weeks back, that wasn't something that was a thing. So it wasn't even mentioned in that. So I'd like to know if you can drop the information in the comments so I can understand more about that. Let's see, collecting chaos. Most of the item specifics they want to see is what company graded my ungraded item and who verified the signature of the unsigned item. And your toys, if you have toys that are just random toys you pick up, they want to know if it was graded and by whom. And you have to leave that blank, right? Because you can't even put NA in there. It won't even let you do it. Jason Neal says, if you run a 20% off sale with no promoted, try a 15% off sale with 5% promoted. The cost is the same, a good way to test the program. Yeah. I mean, here's the good thing. You get some flexibility. I'd like to say a lot of flexibility on eBay to run your business, but that's not entirely true. Yet another video I'm going to make to show you that you have flexibility. I don't know if you guys knew this or not. If you wanted to, you can go in and tell eBay that you don't want anyone with at least, I think they have to have at least 6 feedback or more. I think the highest number you could set is 5. So you could tell eBay that you don't want to sell any items to anyone with under 5 feedback. Or I think it's 5 or less. You can set it up as high as 5. A lot of people don't know about that. I found out about that a few days ago, just doing some research. They give you very limited control. And in my opinion, eBay should give you, let you set whatever number you want. But see, you could set 5 right now, 5 or less feedback. You can't, they won't be able to buy from you. But that's across the board. But what if you're cool with selling your average items to 0 feedback buyers, and then you have this $200 item that you're trying to list, and you don't want to deal with the potential new person who doesn't know the system, or maybe even a scammer, that kind of thing. That's always in the back of our mind when we sell a really high priced item. And now as a seller, you can set that number for that particular item. To me, that's what eBay needs to do. Right now, you can't do it. Let's see. No One Design 2. Hey, John, just made it to the live. Been busy today for some odd reason. If I lost my supplier today, I would find another one. No question about it. It's what a reseller has to do. So if you are into liquidation and you just can't find any liquidation, it won't be a situation where you're going to be able to just find another supplier. You're probably going to have to find another method of sourcing, whether that's, sometimes you guys are so lucky for me. $20 sale, but again, here's another live stream. I make a sale. So thank you guys. There's another way of sourcing, and that's online arbitrage. You could do that. You can go to Walmart, hit that clearance aisle. There's this thing where if you use the app on Walmart, the Walmart app, and you go in and you scan listings or scan items, that is, you'll find items for like 3 cents. It's a thing, I guess, in some Walmarts. You have to be creative. You'll have to find ways, new ways, not the same ways to source. Let's see. Judy D says, what if you send a picture along with the purchase to a customer? Is that okay with eBay? If you send a picture along with the purchase to the customer of what? Are you talking about of the item that should already have photos in the listing? I'm not quite sure. Please comment down below and explain that question a little bit more. And thank you, Jason. $1 super chat is definitely appreciated. It's $1 more than I had about 10 minutes ago. So thank you for supporting the channel. And really, the fact that you're just here is enough. Hitting that like button is what I'm looking for. Thank you for that, though. I appreciate it. AIU from eBay. Saw you on the other live last night. Dave and Carrie, hope you're doing well. Yeah, I saw you. And I think Ping G was also there. And that was the live stream with Dave, NC Picker, and I believe American Arbitrage channel. And they were just cutting it up and were just being goofy. And I was shipping and I didn't have anything else to listen to. So I decided, just let it play and, chime in every once in a while. But yeah, it was nice seeing you there. No One Design 2 says, hey, John, saw your short and your Archie going 1-2s on the pallet. Are you going to do a vid on what's in it? No, not going to do a vid on what's in it because we've already looked through it. So what happened is Archie took his items, his boxes home, and I took mine home, left them in my SUV, and I had to tend to other things. Mainly, I had to get my shipping done. So I said, you know what? I'll get out there when I get a chance. So he contacts me and says, I give this lot a C-, I think he said. And he was telling me, I got this item, I got that item. And it almost felt like he was expecting to get a PlayStation in there or something. And we talked about it. And I know he wasn't expecting that, but I think a lot of times he overlooks some of the items that he's pulling from these boxes, and he's looking for a certain kind of item, and he gets somewhat disappointed. He was very disappointed. And okay, I get my items out, start looking through them, and I'm like, I got on the phone with him. Like, yeah, I got this, I got that. Got some beats. Of course, he was like, "Oh, you got some beats?" Yeah, I got beats, but guess what? They don't work. There was a swap out. I didn't know that right away, but I ended up getting things like I think there's some Sam. Don't get on me about this, Tommy, but some Sam Edelmans, some women's sandals, or some flats, whatever they are, and those things are like $110 on Amazon. And I kind of looked at it and I put it to the side, and I didn't really say much about it, but ended up getting some women's Doc Martens air walkers or airwear, and it's like a sandal from Doc Martens. Got a pair of white pair of Pumas that looked like maybe it was worn once, so just had to kind of clean it up. Had it new in the box and all that. The oddest thing I've ever had to list, and this is, God, yeah, okay. The oddest thing I've ever had to list was the other day. In this box, I ended up getting a pair of Pumas, right? I love the brand Puma, and did some research. Not a pair, I'm sorry, one Puma shoe. And it was brand new. It was on the right-footed Puma shoe, and it's a women's size 8 golf shoe. I think it's size 8, maybe 9 golf shoe. So now I'm selling this one golf shoe, women's golf shoe, to that one-legged golfer out there. And I don't know if that's going to sell to anyone or not. It's like $24 I put it for. It does, I guess, cross as a tennis shoe. It's like a sneaker style, but it doesn't have the spikes on the bottom or anything like that. It's just like a regular shoe. And it turns out it's a golf shoe. And I was more disappointed because of that, because you have folks out there who have one leg and need one shoe. I understand that, but how many of them are out there hitting golf balls? So I thought that was glad you asked about this lot, because yeah, that was definitely in it. I gave it a B plus as far as actually no, I gave it a B minus as far as what was in there. I think I had a brand new like a low style motorcycle helmet that was in there, new in the box. There's a Philips Norelco 9800 shaver set. I had that. Had a couple Oral-B toothbrush sets, new. Well, not new in the box. They're open boxes where people crack them open. Maybe they look at it and say, no, I'm going to use my old toothbrush and just send it back, kind of thing, where they don't really use it, but they open up the packaging. Had just a lot of stuff like that, and I'm good with it, because if you consider that we're into that lot for $220 a piece, just the items I mentioned to you, and that's like maybe a box full, covers my cost, and whatever's left over is gravy. And what I like to do is I'll take those 8 boxes, I'll take the stuff I don't even plan on messing with, maybe I can't identify it, maybe it doesn't have much value, and I'll put it into some empty boxes, and that is liquidation that I will sell at like $10 a box on Marketplace. People come to my house, pick it up, and I'm done with it, and I get money back that way. So it actually works out pretty well, but it wasn't worth making a video on. I think Archie will second me on that one. AIU says, nice hat. Well, hey, thank you. You can get yours down below. Get like a lot of different colors, and got my shirt too. My Flip It Ain't Easy shirt, different styles, this, that, and the other thing. And support the channel. You want some merch, click down below for that. Looks like got my dogs going down the stairs. Okay. So, and then my lovely wife Jenna's here too.
Hi guys.
She must be on break right now.
I am still alive.
So let's see what we have here. We've got 69 people. So I guess there's a few that don't want to deal with eBay talk on a Friday afternoon, evening. I get it. But but hopefully we can get some more people rolling in here. It was really cool seeing we had 100 viewers last time on Tuesday. Ed, the reselling writer, says buyer still pays the shipping, but did go up depending on the weight tier of the shipping. It's different after the first order. We're talking about whatnot. For my items, it's always 1 to 2 pounds, so it's $4 an item after their first order. And I guess that scares people away. It makes buyers think about the price and takes away the thrill of the auction because of the shipping change. Hopefully that makes sense. It makes sense. It's just sad that they had to change it. Let's see. That's not entirely true. You have to read that very closely. You cannot set how many non-pays and how many purchases per month for people less than 5 feedbacks or whatever. There's no way to block by feedback totally. On mine, it allows you to checkbox. There's a checkbox that remains unchecked because I don't want it to expand to the rest of my store. I plan on doing a video about it or talking about it, and you'll see you can check on that box. Click on that box, and you can set 0 to 5 as the number, and it will block anyone who doesn't have at least 6 feedback if you have it set for 5. At least that's the way I've read it. I don't see, and I'm not going to test it because I'm fine with selling to 0 feedback buyers, but that's the way it reads. So I have to go back and look, but I do plan on making a video about it at some point. AIU from eBay says, here's a question. Best place to learn technical aspects of listing and how Cassini, the eBay search engine, works. It says more coming. Okay. When you add an item specific, so wait, let me go back here because I don't think you continued the first question. Okay, let me go back to the first question. Best place to learn technical aspects of listing and how Cassini works? Question mark. Well, through other eBay channels. I mean, this channel and other, find eBay channels that you trust. You can trust an eBay channel. Usually after watching the first couple episodes, either you think they're full of, or, they're not. And look at what they're doing. There is no textbook on how Cassini works. That's eBay's algorithm. There is no way to go into eBay's their help and contact to see, which is really where they put their policies. You can go and do a search on best match, and it'll give you like a rundown of, and we talked about that on a couple live streams ago, what they expect of you. And I would look at that more than anything else. That would be the closest manual you're going to find, and read into what they're saying and try to implement it. Find another way is find what works. Maybe it's not working for you, but maybe you're selling items that your competitors are selling items more than you. Find out what they're doing. So go into the sold to the same items you're selling. Find what they're doing differently. Could be the price is lower. Could be their photos are better. And it could be some things you're not even seeing. Could be their account health is much better. And it could be that they promoted much higher than you. Oh, gee. So Deborah JK, Deborah JK. I've had people look items up on Google, find my item they were looking for, and they opened up an eBay account so they can purchase it. If you do that, you're going to eliminate these customers. Not good. And I agree. That's why I don't have it set. I don't have that box checked. So anybody can go on to my store with 0 feedback. They found it on Google, right? We talk about that white background in your photos so that there's a chance your item can be found on Google. You have to have your item specifics and all that stuff. You have to have a quality listing, and they get in there, find it, never intended on ever buying from eBay, but it's something they've been looking for, and now they get blocked. And so for me, I have mine. I don't even have that set. But what I'm saying is that I would like to see eBay give the sellers more control over their individual items and not treat everything the same. So I don't care if I sell a $10 item to a 0 feedback buyer. What's the worst that's going to happen? I'll lose $10. I mean, worst case scenario. But if I'm selling a 2, 3, 4, I've sold a couple $1,200 items on eBay, And believe me, thoughts go into your mind as a reseller when you're listing an item of that price that it is possible that you can get scammed. I've been scammed already once with the chargeback. I won that, thank goodness. And that was a bummer to have your money on hold for like 90 days during a chargeback, and it's a $1,200 hold. So all your new sales are basically gone. It's bothersome, okay? Especially when you need that money to reinvest in more goods. So that thought's going to cross the back of your mind. I would like eBay to give me the option of making a policy. They give us the option of making a policy for payments, which there really is no need for that, I guess. I mean, they should either have a switch. Either you're doing an auction and you don't require instant payment with your, your fixed item listings, or you don't. You shouldn't have to make a policy for that, but they give you the option for that. You have your shipping policy and you have your return policy. Well, what about a store control policy or I don't know what you want to call it, but a policy that says, look, this particular item, I don't want to follow my store policy as it pertains to how many feedbacks a person has. I don't even want to sell this item to someone with less than 50 feedback. How about that? And you have that kind of control. Now that will never happen, but that doesn't mean that's a thing that I wouldn't want to see. I mean, eBay can do whatever they want. Yeah, there's money that's involved in making those changes, but eBay, there's a lot of people I feel like eBay is sort of your boss. You're the seller, but you don't have the control to do what you want. You're at their mercy and you have to sell it to whomever buyer comes along. If you had a store, if you had a brick and mortar store and somebody came in and they look like they're in trouble, just say that, and they wanted to buy an expensive item, of course, maybe they came in with no shirt or no shoes, so they have that sign, no shirt, no shoe, no service. Maybe you turn them away, right? I don't know. It's just a thought that came across my mind. We don't have the same kind of control that we would have if we had a brick and mortar. That's all I'm kind of saying. Hawk Feather Stories, Savage Pickers here. Better late than never in wait and see mode with their cars. Haven't been focused much on, but had a few sales. Just I know that sometimes life throws you curveballs. You just got to keep plugging away. So thanks for their hanging out with us today. I appreciate that. Let's see. Jason Neal says, sell your Legos on Bricklink. 6% total fees, including PayPal. Super cheap. Bricklink is owned by Lego, but how's their traffic? So, a lot of people say, let's try this site. Let's do that site. Let's create a site, right? Someone create a site that competes with eBay, but is the traffic going to be there? So I'm curious as to, I get Legos all the time, brand new sets. So we find these liquidation lots. I think Archie found a Star Wars Death Star Lego set in the boxes that we just picked up. And they do sell on eBay, but how fast do they sell on this particular site? I'm curious. Savage Pickers says sales have been so the past few days. I'm waiting on word from the insurance company. So she got into an auto accident. So that, that totally stinks. So hopefully everyone's okay. Sean Krisky, like to buy bulk and resell each item separately. I think I do well with antique coins and estate tobacco pipes. Works well for me on eBay when I always start them low with no reserve and promotion. So there's a lot of sellers who use auctions. I just think that sometimes you're better off if you're doing this long term, building a store of fixed price items, get a little bit more than what you would get if you just sold it on auction. But if you have low investment, maybe you just want that quick flip, auctions are still, depending on the item, auctions are still a viable way to do that. I've seen a lot of stores where that's all they do. They sell their items on auction. And I saw one store, they're selling everything. It's like maybe a 1,000 items in their store. That means they're churning a lot of items. They started everything at 99 cents, no matter what it was. And sometimes they're selling, $30 items for 99 cents plus shipping. And they didn't care. They're just, I guess they're in for such a low cost. They're just about churning, right? And I guess you have to have a lot of help to do that. And if you have a lot of help, you have a warehouse, you have a place to store it all, you can use that business model and not have stuff just sitting behind you, and you know it's going to move. On the boxes that we bought, Biscuit Butt said, I was expecting a PS5 Switch 2022 Corvette OG Jordan ones. Yeah, and just didn't get it. And he was very disappointed when we got on the phone, and he was like, man. And then I told him what I ended up getting, and he's like, see, your luck. And I didn't feel all that lucky because, I kind of knew that the particular seller that we go to is fairly consistent. You're not always with these mystery lots going to get hit home runs. You're just going to strike out sometimes. But when you do hit home runs, it makes up for the times. And I don't even think we struck out. I think it was just an average lot, and it just sometimes you're hoping for more than what you get. Ed says, I've sold only one shoe to someone before the Poshmark for $95. Single shoes do sell, just takes more time. But what about single shoes for golfers? What about a single bowling shoe? What about, I hate to laugh about that, but it just the idea. Look, there's people all the time that need single shoes. My mother, bless her heart, before she passed away, she had a leg amputated because of they found cancerous growth on her leg, and she had to have a prosthetic leg. So I get the idea. For a while she was only dealing with one leg. I get the idea of you needing one pair of shoe or one shoe, but a golf shoe, I just don't know if there's a market for that. That's kind of why I brought it up. AEIU from eBay. So his second question was, when you add an item specific plus item specifics, how does that get found by the search engine? Is that an effective place for keywords that didn't get into the title? I think the effective place for keywords is in your description. So if you're trying to sort of spam, which you shouldn't do, spam your listing with, let's say you're selling this a generic shoe, but you want, I guess you shouldn't even be doing that. If you put not Nike or whatever, should never do that. Don't know how that would affect your search, but any kind of keywords you want to place that describe your item well, and that's in the description. I wouldn't add, there's a lot of people, if you do a sell similar to sell an item, let's say I have this item and I go and search for it on eBay to see what it sold for, I'll find a listing that sold for a fairly decent price, the same condition, click on that, sell one like this, and I'll check their item specifics when I'm doing my listing, and they have all this extra junk in here, like 100% satisfaction, free shipping, all this BS that they put in there. And it doesn't, to me, it adds no value to the listing. I don't know why people do that, but it drives me absolutely crazy. Let's see. No One Design 2 says, hey, John, there is a Bolo Maybe Flex Seal. I bought it in a pallet of Flex Seal, $3,500, 700 count, sold them all less than a month. ASP was $35 for me, trying to find some more at the moment. Or you're trying to find some more that's going to be equivalent to an ATM machine. Don't know what you mean by that, but I think it's the same meaning. Certainly, there's nothing like finding a lot of one type of item where you're in for a low price and it's just printing money for you. And it's a bolo. I'm certainly on the lookout for that type of thing, but I'm sure that particular lot isn't all that readily available to you. I'm sure you'd have bought a lot more than that just in the 700. Wanda says, don't forget, everyone, that shipping with USPS is going up on the 10th, special media, and a 30% increase. So yes, definitely keep that in mind. I'm sure that you will find out once you start running labels on Monday. So certainly keep that in mind. The things that's going to stink about that is if you sell an item, let's say you sell an item on Saturday, right? And you have calculated shipping and you're using USPS, and then you go run that label on Monday, it's going to be higher than what you've collected maybe. So just something to consider on that as well. Let's see. AEIOU has a lot of questions, but that's cool. If it's two separate questions, which do you think is the best channel talking about the technical aspects? And two, does anyone know how the item specific option works? So I'd like to say this channel is a pretty good one with the technical aspects. I mean, we like to at least talk about it and bring it up and share my experiences, and I share other experiences. But I don't think there's really that I've seen. There's not really a whole lot of channels that go deep diving into um, technical aspects. And that's because there's just not a lot of information out there. We can go by what we think's going on, what our experiences is with the type of item, type of merchandise, and the type of volume that we do. But that doesn't necessarily mean that what we do is what Joe does over here with a different type of item. So that's why you're probably not going to find too many channels dedicated to that. And does anyone know the plus item specific option works? So if anyone has an answer to that question, please comment down below. I appreciate that. Kid Wilson says, I've been surviving off Goodwill and thrift stores, although the price is going up, not helping, but I go to every day and always find something I score on. Let's see what we can kind of catch up a little bit here because we're kind of long into this. I apologize. No One Design 2 says, think of eBay as a franchise and run your business accordingly. Sean says, offer 30-day returns for all your items. This helps you get more sales on eBay. I agree with that, but if you have a very, very heavy item, then you may want to reconsider that. Just my opinion. Let's see. I primarily get my items off auctions, and I get most of my items on the cheap. If I don't do that anymore, I would likely have to close my store. Luckily, it's a family-owned auction business. Okay. Let's see. Jason says, Bricklink sales are great. Just started cross-listing to eBay right now. Bricklink sales are higher. No fees to have a store. You must buy one item there before you can sell there. That's interesting. If I come to a lot of Legos, I'll definitely consider that. Tommy says, description isn't included in search by default on eBay. That's a hidden toggle. Description is included in search on Posh and Mercari. We have Sean says, great eBay talk video. You rock, man. Thank you for hanging out with us today. I certainly appreciate that. I say this all the time. Without you guys, I certainly couldn't even do a live stream more than 15 minutes. And your questions, your comments are certainly what keeps these live streams even possible. Going back here real quick. Judy says, I was thinking a picture would show proof the item was sent in good condition to the customer. Yeah, even if you show proof that maybe you run a video showing you actually packing the item, eBay doesn't even care. They're not even going to look at that. So just know, take good photos for your listings, and that's really all you need. So yeah, I mean, scam. If you're worried about scammers and things like that, they're going to happen, and eBay is going to take their side of it before they take your side of it. You just gotta be comfortable with that. And people don't like me saying this, but it's the truth. It's the cost of doing business, and know that a very, 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 very small percentage of the time, scammers are going to happen, and you just got to find a way to get past it and move on to the next sale. It's the best advice I can give on that. But guys, figuring out having a backup plan to when things, hopefully they don't go awry for us as resellers. Hopefully these big stores don't implement such, in my opinion, draconian return policies. And I don't think it's really draconian for their buyers, but for us, it would stink because we wouldn't be able to buy the same level of merchandise, and it would have a trickle-down effect on people who go to yard sales and swap meets and thrift stores. So let's hope it never comes down to that, but you really need to have a plan of, if I'm not able to source with this particular person, what am I going to do? And you maybe need to think about that and just develop a plan so that you have something to fall back on. But see, problems like this is just another example of how flipping ain't easy. And I want you guys to have an excellent weekend, and look for a video from me here very soon.